All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is stepping back into the mighty Trigon and doing so in a different weight category. Going to be talking about that. Some very interesting times ahead of BKB 44, Denver Brawl 5, the Stockyard Event Center getting taken over once again, and a great fight going down as Tommy Turner is set to step into the mighty Trigon against Michael Santos. And great having Tommy back on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How are you doing, man? You having a solid day so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear, man. And just awesome to, I guess, hear how you're doing ahead of this. Because I was seeing an interview where you were talking about how, fighting up at cruiserweight here has you feeling a bit more filled out and just really excited to, showcase that power you can generate in this newer division. So seems like exciting times in Tommy Turner's world.
Yeah, absolutely. I've changed up camp. I went down to Miami, training with Jose Fernandez and Romain Cotier and Duran Jr. and Coach David Pena. Just being around guys like that and training with a legitimate trainer such as Coach David has really brought out a new me, I guess you could say. As far as the weight, I walk around at like 210, 215, and I've been fighting at 160. So it's such a big cut that I felt I didn't perform like I should have performed. And fighting at 180, 185, I feel great. I feel healthy, and I'm excited for the 16th.
And I was seeing the backstory on all of that because, I mean, great work with Duran Jr. and Coach David Pena and all those individuals in Miami that you mentioned. But I guess I was noticing per an interview that you did where you were discussing going through, I guess, quite a long period of time where you were largely coaching yourself after a prior trainer had passed from cancer. But it seemed like the relatively recent losses you had, which, I mean, cream of the crop fighters in the bare knuckle world, but all the same, it seemed like those moments motivated you to, kind of, put a team around yourself, like not do the individual, coaching efforts, even though yourself individually guiding your career, you've done great things and gotten to like a really high point in BKB, but it seemed like those factors maybe informed this move from what I was seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. When I turned pro, I had a great trainer, a good manager. I was fighting for top rank, boxing for top rank, and Lou DiBella and some of the big guys, Pelts promotions and stuff. Once I kind of ended that, my trainer started battling cancer. We, went our own ways. Obviously, I checked on him, make sure he's good. It got to where I would do my strength and conditioning by myself at the local gym here, and then I have a home gym, right? So I would go outside every day and just do my own work, which I can't critique myself. I don't have someone yelling at me and telling me do this or do that, or hey, you stepped here, or your hands are down, stuff like that. Um, and and fighting, getting myself to fighting the two top pound for pound fighters on the planet, and then losing those fights, rather than pout and feel bad, I just kind of sat there and thought about it and was like, man, if I had a real team like these other big time fighters, I can win these fights. So here we are.
And it seems like it kind of is informed by like a broader thread in your life, like even outside of a competitive context, because I remember Bare Knuckle Nation did a really good feature piece on you where it was talking about how a lot of your life has been, second chances and looking to like, rebuild and getting to like a almost like rebirth kind of period in a certain sense, just talking about the myriad of issues you've, overcame and whatnot and the adversities that you've faced. So I guess in the vacuum of fighting, it kind of seems like this exists within that. Just yeah, looking to rebuild and a certain rebirth in a certain regard, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't take no matter, not just fights, but I guess I'm the type of guy that I don't take L's as a loss. I take it as a lesson, right? Um, no matter what it is that knocks you down, if you could pick yourself back up and kind of figure out why you were knocked down and fix those things, not only am I will be a better fighter, but a better person, better father, better husband, you name it. So
And it seems like that's also a meaningful motivational piece because I've been seeing some interviews where, like, when you were a younger fighter, it seemed like it was motivated by almost just like I guess, like the pure love for it, just like what you personally get out of the competitive framework and preparing. But it seems like now it's more about, okay, this is like a way to make money for my family, to give them a better life, and etc. So it seems like the motivations are even different in that kind of regard, also.
Yeah, absolutely. I never saw it coming, but once the kids came, it was you wake up and you feel like a different person, and things that mattered before don't matter anymore. They matter, right? So I might not have had the best guidance as a child, or I mean, my parents were always there, but we struggled, and I didn't get along with my father. So having children and being able to repair those things and change um, the circle, right? It means a lot to me. That's everything to me.
Yeah, no, it's incredible stuff, man. And just, yeah, super excited to, see you, get back out there. And I mean, on such a stacked card, no less, as well. I mean, quite the headliner with Paty Juarez and Khortni Kamyron thrown down in the rematch, with Kamyron having that potential to make history as the first woman to, be a two division champion under the BKB banner. So, yeah, pretty exciting card to find yourself on here, it would seem like.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw it the other day, the full card, and it's pretty impressive. Mel keeps pulling these tricks out of his hat, and it's and putting together great fights. So I'm also excited. I know Henry Williams is on that card. I beat him in my debut, and he has come back and just picked people apart. The dude's an animal, so I'm excited to see him fight. And then we got a couple new guys, so it'll be a good card. Everyone needs to tune in and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, no, and it's super easy to do that nowadays too with
Yeah,
that Vice TV broadcast deal. So love to see that end of it as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, yep.
And that was a fight that I kind of wanted to, I guess, get a certain level of insight on from you because, yeah, definitely noticed that Henry Williams win you secured and definitely doing so in impressive fashion. And yeah, he has very much rebounded from that setback. I mean, speaking to, I guess, our prior point of like the rebuilding process and whatnot. And yeah, fighting the BKB welterweight champ, Javon Wright, on this card. Like, do you have any particular thoughts on the fight at all? Like, not necessarily a prediction per se, but just like an overview of that contest because it seems like a great fight.
Yeah, I think either way, it's going to be a great fight. But I believe Javon's got to land something big on Henry. Otherwise, Henry is going to outbox him the entire fight. Um, his boxing is beautiful, especially bare knuckle. He works his distance, his angles. He's smart. So I think Javon is a great fighter and a great champion, but he's going to have to land something big on Henry to beat him.
Yeah, definitely a compelling fight. And I mentioned Khortni Kamyron's pursuit of trying to become a two division champion in BKB. I guess someone who fits within that already in terms of the two division champ status, one of the individuals that you fought that we've kind of referenced in a cursory way a bit, fighting LT Nelson, one of the top pound for pound fighters, if not number one in the entirety of the sport. But just kind of thought to bring him up in the sense of he recently avenged what was his lone loss in bare knuckle boxing when he stopped Sam Liera at BKB 42, and was just curious to, get your thoughts on that particular one.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I don't know Sam. He seems like a great guy, but I know LT. And we were cool before we fought, so I'm always watching him, and he's on a roll, man. It's going to take someone special to knock him off the top. So, um, maybe if I can get a couple more wins under my belt and he jumps up in weight, um, maybe I could be that guy. But as of right now, he's the man. So, and nothing but love and respect to him.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess in regards to your fight too, I guess one of the aspects that I think is cool of it is just like the, I guess, adaptability that you've shown because you were initially supposed to face Gregoris Cisneros on this card, but it seemed like international travel complications kind of, scrapped that outing, as it were, and everything, and kind of gave way to this fight. So yeah, just showing the, I guess, adaptability and that kind of sense, which I would think would be important.
Yeah, so I started this camp at 226, and I've had plenty of time, right, to get down because I took a long break after my last fight, which was LT. Um, I needed to sit around and think and figure out the next step. So, um, it's been what 14 months since my last fight, roughly, and yeah, it's just it's good to be back. Um, but we started the cut. It was supposed to be 168. And then we got news about, Gregoris, and I was about 185 at that point in time. Um, and they gave me somebody else. The guy turned it down. I don't even remember the name. And then they said Santos will take it. It's a cruiserweight. So we agreed on it, and I've been able to put on a little bit more weight and keep my weight a little higher and eat a full meal. So that's been nice.
Yeah, and just what are your thoughts on Santos too? Because I mean, undefeated rising star and whatnot, and I mean, seems like an individual that I guess has the gamesmanship to step up against, someone like yourself on relatively short notice who's been a multi-time title challenger in the sport. So I guess what are your thoughts on Michael Santos in terms of what you may have seen from him as a fighter, like what he brings to the table, etc.?
I've just seen him with art, and he seems like a very powerful brawler. A very tough guy, and he's a veteran. So I know he's put in his work, and I respect anyone that served our country, right? So, I mean, I'm a fifth generation Army brat myself, so I've got nothing but respect for veterans. I think he was a Marine, but either way, respect to him. I think it'll be a great fight, but I just think, I'm taller. I feel way stronger at this weight. I was knocking everyone out at 160, and that I beat. So we're gonna have more power. Still have the speed, and I think it'll be a rough night for him.
Yeah, such an exciting fight. And I mean, I know this is your entry point into this newer kind of weight category and whatnot. And this would be more of a down the line kind of consideration. But I did mention the fact that you've vied for world championship accolades previously. Like, I guess how much of like a long term kind of focus, like I guess something to aspire to or build towards would that, cruiserweight championship opportunity be like in terms of like a future fight with, Cub Hawkins, who currently holds the belt in that division?
So you know what? I think after that, this point, I'm gonna fight this fight, right? Because this is the weight that I was given. This is the opponent I was given. If maybe down the road I stay at 185, then absolutely, I'd love to shoot for Cub, which is another tough dude. I don't know him all that well, but I've seen him fight, and he's a tough guy. Um, I know he works his butt off in the gym, and he lives the life of a fighter. But I think honestly, after this, I'll probably light heavyweight 175 will be my home. So again, that's Barry Jones with the title, and he's already broke my face once. So I guess we'll keep going, and if that's the fight I get, that's the fight I want. So
Yeah, I was actually going to kind of reference that because we mentioned Gregorius Cisneros falling out of this fight due to certain travel issues and Barry Jones capturing that light heavyweight championship from him kind of recently. So, I mean, that could be a very compelling rematch down the line for sure, like in a context of being, squarely focused on this fight here and not overlooking the challenges that your opponent at BKB 44 presents. But that would seem like an enticing opportunity down the line if you get your ideal outcome in this one, of course.
yeah, absolutely. I know Barry's main focus right now is the rematch with LT. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, if whoever the top guy is, I that's who I want to fight. So like we said, my only two losses are to the two pound for pound best in the planet, and my other wins were to top ranked fighters. So um, I know I'm right in there. And I don't like being number one or number two or number three. I'm always shooting for being to be number one. So that's the plan. And looks like it'll be Barrie at 175. So
Yeah, I mean that would be really exciting. Like I remember interviewing you before that fight and just the magnitude of that match of just how big it felt. And that was when, BYB and BKB were still doing those like crossover, cross promotional cards before like the acquisition. And then I guess subsequent name change happened. So yeah, some good times there and everything like that with that particular one, just like the lead in processes to something like that.
yeah, yeah. What was that? So when we fought each other, it was I guess, the first and only Bare Knuckle International Cup. So, just being a part of like the team Bare Knuckle, the team USA was something I'll never forget. I've got the jacket hanging in there and in the closet, and it's not going anywhere. Uh, so yeah, that was it was great to be a part of that for sure.
Yeah, I was recently talking to Shelby Cannon, who competed on that event. She was talking about how there was some trophy stealing that was going on, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know about that." Were you privy to any of that at all? Like the other team kind of trying to nab the trophy or something of that persuasion?
Nope, I never heard about any of that. I think I was too busy in the back getting stitches in my forehead and getting my face checked out.
Yeah, more pressing things to focus on in that moment, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, it's good to, I guess, reflect back on certain things, just speaking to how big that international, cross promotional card was. But I guess redirecting focuses to this event, because I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this one. I feel like one of the more intriguing debuts we've seen in BKB recently with Alberto Balas coming over and signing with the company, leaving as BKFC's reigning bantamweight champion. And obviously, they've since vacated that belt. But just curious to get your thoughts on Alberto Balas coming over and making his debut on this card.
yeah. I've seen a little bit of Boston. He's a very impressive fighter. It seems like he's for that weight. He's a very powerful puncher, and he knows how to land it, set it up, and land those shots. So, I think whoever I don't know who the champion is at that weight, but whoever it is, they better get to work because I think he's definitely probably coming for it.
Well, right now in his weight category, the champion is Julio Tenori, and the interim lightweight
Oh,
champion right now is Jared Grant. So, I mean, presuming, yeah, what happens with that title unification fight if they book that next, which would be the logical thing considering the interim champion status, I would presume Bloss could be potentially fighting the victor of that one. So, yeah, that would be an interesting fight, I would think.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So Julio's that's one of the toughest dudes on the roster. Him and Irwin. I mean, that fight between them just kind of blew my mind, really. And then Grant that's a bad dude as well. So um, I think a fight between any three those three guys could be fight of the year. You know what I mean? So um, I look forward to seeing one of those fights for sure.
Yeah, and something that I thought was interesting that I'd seen in a recent interview, like I know earlier you were talking about how you sometimes had a complicated relationship, with your dad, but just talking about how he had fought Mike Tyson circa 1980 or 81 for the Colorado Springs National Golden Gloves tournament. Like, I guess what did he impart to you about his memories of, throwing down with Iron Mike back in the day there? Because I thought that was a really interesting anecdote that I picked up on watching an interview that you did recently.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. That was his claim to fame, right? He never turned pro. He ended up going in the military. He went through BUDS, SEAL training, stuff like that, and was a combat engineer, I believe, which was like bombs and explosives and stuff like that. But his claim to fame was Mike knocked everybody out, and I just got my butt whooped for 3 rounds straight, but he didn't knock me out. He goes, but I don't remember like the next day or that day. He goes, he like knocked some memory out of me for a couple of days. But the cool part is, so my dad, Mike, is a pigeon guy, rollers and homing pigeons, right? So my dad and I growing up, that was kind of my chore was taking care of these birds. So they talk to each other and found out they both have the same love in these fancy pigeons. So I remember as a kid getting a live bird box, and didn't say his name, but it was from Brownsville, New York. And I remember hearing my dad go, "Yeah, I got to send Mike some birds back." So they did like a swap. So that was pretty cool, you know. So I've never met Mike, but always one of our favorites.
Well, it's kind of cool that they sort of like kept in touch in a way in the ensuing years after that and everything. So yeah, that's a cool anecdote. I didn't know how much it went beyond the actual competition they had, but yeah, that's neat.
Yep, yep, pretty cool. I don't have pigeons now. That was a chore growing up, so it's not my thing. But yeah, it was pretty cool for sure.
I mean, I guess like I'm using the language of a pet in the context of these pigeons. Are there other animals you're more inclined to be taking care of these days? Like, are you a dog guy? Are you a cat guy or something? Or maybe not so
Yeah,
much?
I've got two Akitas, the Japanese Akita. So I mean they're the American Akita, but that's where they come from was Japan. So me being part Japanese and being called the samurai, I figured that's the best dog for me, right? So um, I love them. They're smart, loyal. You don't even got to train them for protection. My kids are safe. Um, they don't let anybody around them. I could, they're just a great dog. And then my wife, she's actually a breeder. She breeds the miniature long-haired dachshunds, the little wiener dogs, which they're not my favorite. Um, but she loves them, so we put up with it, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying though, man. And yeah, I guess I'm just curious to hear if you're still, dealing out haircuts these days. Like I know you were working in a barber shop at one point, like in a prior interview that we had done. I believe it was,
Yep.
yeah, KO Cuts, I believe was the name. Like, is that something you're still finding yourself getting up to at all?
Yeah, so my wife and I own a salon barbershop. She's in there when she's not doing the dog things. She works, I mean, usually 6 days a week there. So she does nails and eyebrows and teeth whitening and stuff like that. And then I'm still in there serving out fades.
No, I love that, man. That's so cool. And yeah, I love to, I guess, see how involved you are with your family and everything. Like, I do remember from a previous chat that we had had as well, it seemed like a regular kind of thread before each of your fights. You like look at pictures of your kids to like lock into a certain headspace to kind of reacquaint yourself in, I guess, a tactile, visual kind of way as to like what you're fighting for and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'd love how, I guess, family involved you are and how that drives seemingly many facets of your life.
Yeah, I think family's everything, right? So um, as a kid, I always wanted that close knit thing, and I never quite got it. And then you have kids and a wife, and you get to build yourself, right? You get to build your own life. You can forget about the past. You build your own life. So, um, and I'm the type of guy that I feel like if you have children as a man, you cannot call yourself a man unless you're doing your job and taking care of them and being there for them and guiding them. Um, so I want to be a real man, right? So I'm doing my job.
Yeah, well, you're certainly doing great work and always there for your family, and it really comes across in a big way, man. And I feel like that probably serves as a great parting thought, even in and of itself, I suppose. But I figured I'd give you the floor as well in case you did have anything you wanted to mention as we're wrapping up here on Bare Knuckle Bowker. I do appreciate you making the time to talk today, Tommy.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'll do a shout out to Boise State Used Vehicles. It's a sponsor of mine. Fusion Fitness, um, Small Town Fitness, um, Savages MC, and I may be forgetting some, but we'll plug them out at the fight. But yeah, whoever's tuning in, catch the fight on Vice TV, August 16th, and you'll have a good night watching it. Guarantee that.
Yeah, this is a super exciting fight against Michael Santos at BKB 44, Denver Brawl 5. An awesome fight in and of itself. And like we were talking about before, an awesome card surrounding it. But again, Tommy, to reiterate, thank you so much for coming on. Bare Knuckle Bowker, once again. It's always great getting these insights from you and everything, man. All the best with the remaining stretch of the preparations, though. And I'll be peeping the fight when it goes down for sure. But until then, you have a good rest of your day, man. Thank you.
You too, Dylan. Thank you so much.